I don't know if that's referring to the fuel consumption of this GT86, but surely it can't be that bad, can it? So welcome to Lot 76 cars and the Pistonheads Sunday Service. Some absolutely cracking cars coming in behind me. What a variation here today. So stick with us and let's have a walk around and see some of these lovely cars. I think that's Adam C in his Dodge Viper. What's that V10 loveliness? Basically got a truck engine in there. Ah, that's incredible. Yes, it is Adam C. So, welcome, Adam. It sounds good. Thank you for that. A Toyota GT86 with an LS3 Corvette engine. My God, that is incredible. Listen to that sound. That is unbelievable, isn't it? So from a time when Polestar was actually a tuning company associated with Volvo, not making electric cars, is this V60 Polestar. I think these have got something like about 350 horsepower. Huge power, only sold as the V60 estate, not the S60 saloon in the UK market. Beautiful colour, this one, absolutely stunning. I'm really liking that car, and they are super unusual and pretty useful as well. Well, I bet you didn't see that one coming. It's an Escort van, and it's running in this particular form an XR3i engine, so obviously not a lot of weight in it, a reasonable amount of power, what, 115 brake, something like that. But in actual fact, I've had a chat with the owner, and that's not enough. He's going to put, I think he said it was a Z-Tech engine in it, and it's going to be going up to about 500 horsepower. So shout out to the guys from Reflective Detail, and they've detailed that one very nicely. But yeah, coming to roads near you very soon with 500 horsepower. That should go, shouldn't it? Now this C124 generation coupe is rather nice and probably, I suspect, rather special. So it looks like it was supplied of Strattons up in Wilmslow. You can see the three-pointed stars missing, but these are from the days when AMG wasn't owned by Mercedes at that stage and were selling their kits separately. And I think this one's got the wider arches by the look of it, got the coloured AMG monoblocks, are they? It looks an absolute treat, doesn't it? I've driven one of these, not in AMG format, and you'll probably find that review elsewhere on the channel, and that was a deeply impressive car. But that one looks an absolute treat in that colour, doesn't it? Now this is rather nice, isn't it? It's Alfa Romeo's 147, so they put the 3.2 litre Busso engine in something like about 250 horsepower in the 147 three-door body shell. I don't think they put it in the 5-door. I think the same engine went into the 156. Not the best on fuel, but what do you expect? And I think a lot of these have had the suspension fettled. I think there was one on the number 27 channel. This beautiful in pearlescent, this pearlescent paint finish looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm not really such a fan of white cars, but this one works really well, doesn't it? Well, I think so anyway. And also it looks good with those pepper pot type telephone dial, if you prefer, alloy wheels. Glorious, isn't it? Well, this is a lovely looking car, and it's supposed to be Lotus's last petrol engine car, but I think that might have changed now. But it's the Emira. This one's got the V6 engine from the Toyota, I think the North American Toyota. Vastly different, the engine, but the block probably is still Toyota based. It looks like an original Lotus car, just looking at the registration number. Appears to sort of put it into East Anglia. Lovely in this, what's it called, Norfolk Mustard, is that what it's still called? But it does look a very attractive looking car, probably one of Lotus's best built cars to date. So the action with these Renault RS Meganes is all around the back, isn't it? They were so divisive at first, but actually now the difference is celebrated, isn't it? You don't actually see so many of this generation of Megane. Surprisingly, they sold quite a few, but in actual fact they're pretty rare beasts, aren't they? Very quick cars in RS form. I think these lap the Nürburgring in absolutely record quick time, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm glad to see one of those here today. Well, this is an absolute eyeful, isn't it? This Aston Martin Vantage. That is beautiful in that cypress green, whatever the colour is. Lovely sort of BBS type wheels. Are they BBS? I don't know. Some lovely details on that car as well, aren't they? Beautiful inside. It's a manual. It's immaculate inside, as you would expect. That beige leather trim, piped as well. You know what, that's already really caught my eye. What a treat. So with 525 horsepower, this GT3 RS is an incredible car, but it's also got this Weissach. I probably mullered the German there with that one. Handling package, which makes it a few kilos lighter, and you get that. And of course, look at the size of that rear spoiler. Honestly, I think it's bigger than my dinner table. That is an incredible Eiffel, but it should be, what are these, best part of £200,000? It's a new one. It's got some lovely detail features. I do love the rear lights on these cars now. It really is a super car. The amount of carbon fibre, there's aero additions everywhere on the car. Look at the aero on the roof, lightweight, probably carbon fibre seats as well. And of course, in case anybody didn't know it was a GT3 RS, we need to make sure we've got this incredible cooling there. I'm not sure it's cooling, more aero, because the engine's at the back, of course, but there you go. If you've got 200 grand to spend and want 525 horsepower, this may be the car for you. So these look incredible value. It's Aston Martin's sort of volume car from a few years ago, the V8, Vantage V8 I think it was called. These are, as I say, real Eiffel for the money. We've got a later V12 Volante, did they call them Volantes, all the convertibles? And we've got an unusual one here, and now this one's probably, I would argue, to some extent, one of the best looking Corvettes out there. Generational thing, but quite an Eiffel, quite a lot of money, pretty robust tech in these American cars, and honestly you wouldn't be embarrassed to park that at the side of Ferrari, would you? It does look good. And shall we have a quick look at this one? Yeah, we shall. I do like these Audi R8s. Either this is the full fat V10, they're also in a V8 version as well. Production has sadly now finished. Incredible car. I've never driven one, but if somebody out there wants to see one on the channel, then you know where to find me. I think the fact you can see the engine does it for me as well. You know, what a view in the rear view mirror. Looks like a carbon fibre spoiler on that one. Yeah, I am seriously liking that one. So whilst the McLaren 12C, their initial car, wasn't massively well received completely, these, I think, Sports Series cars were far better to receive. Lashings of carbon fibre on this 600 LT. Speed bumps are definitely not your friend. Absolute Eiffel of the car. Is this what McLaren called papaya? I suspect it is, actually. And quite unfortunately you can't feel the heat, but I can. This car's been parked for a while and it feels absolutely red hot. And next to it we've also got another one. We've got a 570S. One of the problems is with these cars, it's difficult to differentiate one from the other, to tell you the truth. They are really very similar. McLaren aficionados, forgive me, but there you go, an Eiffel of papaya. So if you're into Lupos, that's lovely, isn't it? That sort of cornflower colour, been lowered a little bit, not the GTI, a 1.4, but lovely. So that number can mean only one thing. This is a very early-ish VW Beetle, and it's a recreation of the Herbie car, and it's absolutely immaculate. The chrome work, everything on this car is absolutely stunning. Wow. I'm not sure if everyone on the channel is a Beetle fan, but who wouldn't be a fan of that car? Now, regular viewers of the channel will know I bought my own BMW E39, but if I got the budget, I'd have had a Touring, and I've had an Alpina Touring like this one. Very subtle conversions. Alpina just build a few thousand cars a year, or did. Now part of BMW, but this is probably absolute best combination. E39 generation BMW in the touring spec with a roof in it as well. Wow, what is not to like with that one? Lovely. That Mustang doesn't sound half bad, does it? That 575M sounds and looks amazing. What's that jello fly, that yellow colour? It's got those very expensive shields on the side as an optional extra, those were. Wow, sounds great, doesn't it? So for me, if I was going to pick a modern car, this M3 Estate is the perfect combination. I'm absolutely loving that colour. It's probably one of BMW's individual colours. Not sure if the camera picks up. It's absolutely beautiful. It's subtle, but lovely at the same time. This sort of mauve, maybe violet, I don't know how you describe it. Some lovely carbon features there. It's the competition version. Don't know if they're all competitions or not. Carbon fibre mirrors. No wonder you park those in when you're not using it. Wow, what a very, very usable car that is. And look at the touches even on the back, some of those additional touches on the aero. Yeah, an awful lot of money there with something like that, but in actual fact it's hell of a car. So the Mark 1 Golf, introduced I think in 75. I think the first cars reaching the UK were only left-hand drive, and a few of those still exist actually. But this was a bit of an, I think it was an after-hours project within VW before they actually adopted it. That Giugiaro shape, that crispness of those lines is incredible, isn't it? It still looks so right today, doesn't it? And relatively a small car by today's standards. Well, it's appropriate. It's a sunny day, cold one, and it's a Nissan Sunny. And this, I think, is the GTI version. It's a right-hand drive car. We did get these in the UK, I'm pretty sure, at the time, when it was still Nissan, before the current Nissan GB was established. And that's quite an eyeful, that one. A bit under the radar, that as well, isn't it? So one of the main things with the Pistonheads get-togethers, these Sunday get-togethers, is just a variety of cars. So we go from a Porsche Cayman, we've got a facelift Lotus Elise, we've even got the Abarth Fiat. This is the one that was built using Fiat engines, multi-air engines, but built by Mazda and shared the platform with the MX-5. Next to it we've got a 220 Cup Elise, and that looks pretty nice, doesn't it, for a facelift car? And then if that wasn't enough, a little bit further on we have got the Quadrifoglio. Oh, it's a beautiful colour, Alfa Romeo Giulia. Let's try not to get in the shot too much. That looks incredible, doesn't it? I'm liking that one a lot. Well, I bet you didn't see that one coming. It's an Escort van, and it's running in this particular form an XR3i engine, so obviously not a lot of weight in it, a reasonable amount of power, what, 115 brake, something like that. But in actual fact, I've had a chat with the owner, and that's not enough. He's going to put, I think he said it was a Z-Tech engine in it, and it's going to be going up to about 500 horsepower. So shout out to the guys from Reflective Detail, and they've detailed that one very nicely. But yeah, coming to roads near you very soon with 500 horsepower. That should go, shouldn't it? Well, I must admit, a Toyota Crown Athlete Estate wasn't on my list of cars to spot today, but I'm glad it's here. Clearly a Japanese import. It's got those fantastic little marker lights at the, on the front wings. Beautiful. Quite an eyeful there. From a distance it might be an E-Class, but from quite a distance I guess. Let's take a look from the back, and yeah, it's actually quite a big car, isn't it? That's absolutely fabulous. Oh, glad they brought that one along. Now I guess you know when you've made it, when your car's got its own Hot Wheels edition, and this Camaro is the Hot Wheels version. And if to prove it, there's the model. Just have a look, the model's on the dashboard there. There you go, if you want one like it. What an incredible car that is. It's quite quite a sight, isn't it? I really quite like that that sort of visor look on the front. the blacked out Chevrolet badge. To be quite honest, that's probably one of the American cars that I really like. Of course, it's got the customary stripes on the back. There you go, eh? From every angle, absolute treat. So there's a few Honda 2000s, S2000s here. This has got the optional hardtop. This was Honda's 50th birthday present to itself. A massively high revving sports car. I rev to some ridiculous RPMs. Do suffer some of them from rust. There's a few of them here today that have survived, but I think the market's starting to catch on to those now. They're a great drive apparently. So the Toyota GR was built primarily for rallying. The three-door body style like this is only available in this model. Must have been horrendously costly to produce just for rally and homologation. Originally planned to produce a limited number, now it's gone into series production with the updated car. I think it's a 3-cylinder 1.6 engine. Is it about 200 brake horsepower, something like that? Very, if you put it, very different to the normal road going or base 5-door Yaris that we know, but you wouldn't know unless you put them side by side. But that is probably the Delta Integrale of the future in terms of collectability. I'm sure it is. Who doesn't love an E46? Is it a CSL? I think it is a CSL. Came only with the SMG gearbox. Many have been updated to a manual gearbox. The SMG is probably a bit out of date today. Beautiful. So introduced in 1979 is the W126 S-Class, S for Sonda or Special Class. Incredible cars. It brought technical innovations like ABS to series production cars. I know Jensen had it first, but apparently ABS was introduced in this car. Actually quite an eyeful. We'll take a look round it. We'll have a look round here. I think this is normal wheelbase. It's a 380 SE and quite a good looking car, isn't it really? These are still relatively accessible. Let's see if it's open. It is. Quite a special place to be, isn't it? I do love the velour trim. Okay, it's got the period cassette holders there. Controls very similar to those in my own 190. That's lovely, isn't it? So an Alfa Romeo GTV, and this one's a twin spark version, I think. That's a lovely colour, quite unusual, isn't it? Sort of one of those colours that changes depending on which angle you look at the car from. There's quite a lot to like about that, to be honest. These are cheap as chips, beautiful interiors. A lot of them succumb to rust, but surely now might be the time to buy one of those. I don't know, put that in the comments if you've got one or you think they're a good used buy. Now, who doesn't love a fast estate? What about this, I think B4 generation Audi, and it's the RS4. There was the S4 and the RS4. This is the RS. That's not quite as subtle, as you can see. Great practical fast estate car. I think these are 4-litre petrol engine, 4 or 4.2, I'm not quite sure. Well, I own part of an Audi, you'll see elsewhere on the channel, half of one. It is a Quattro and it is a 4-litre, but it's not one of these, unfortunately, but that's great, isn't it? Now, of course, the Volvo V70 replaced the 850. Some subtle changes. Jeff Bice Cars loves these, and why not? Got the old prancing moose on the side. That must be obligatory with a Volvo estate car, is it? A prancing moose? And it's absolutely lovely condition. Clearly a car enthusiast. Is it the T5? No, it's the 2.5, but probably all the better for being that 2.5 engine. That's lovely, isn't it? What a usable car. I can certainly get behind one of those. Now, I do like an E36 generation BMW, and this one's immaculate. This M3, and I presume it's an M3. It's not badged on the back. Is it badged on the side? No, it's not. Well, I'm not quite sure actually. The interior doesn't look like M3, but it's certainly got the body kit. That's a good looking car, isn't it? Well, another week, another Clio V6. These just look mad, these sort of Group B looking cars. Not actually that fast, but who cares? In actual fact, what a sense of occasion driving something like that. I would absolutely love to try one of those and get one of those on the channel. Maybe it will never happen, but we can always have a dream, can't you? Oh, that's immense. So this is unusual. It's a W202 Mercedes C-Class, replaced the W201 like mine. It is badged as AMG. It's probably one of the early AMG cars before Mercedes got involved. It's certainly got an eye full of interior. Have a look at this. This caught my eye from a distance. Well, it was difficult not to, but look at those seats. I mean, that is absolutely not shrinking violet territory, is it, with those? What an interior. Great. Now the great thing about these shows is whatever you've got, you're welcome to bring it. If you've got a 5-litre Mustang, or you've got an IS Lexus, a Jag XF, a Golf, or a TVR, you're more than welcome. And that's brilliant, isn't it? Well, it's good to see a MOG here, isn't it? Don't know what engine this has in, but they had a variety of engines over the years. Some Ford, some I think it even used Fiats, but that's lovely, isn't it? I'd certainly like to try one of those along the list of many other cars to get on the channel. Could be a Morgan. Well, it was barely 0 degrees this morning, but whoever came here in this, I take my hat off to you. I don't think your heated steering wheel or your heated seats will be working too well. In fact, you might not even have a heater at all. This Bentley, so many of these were sold for scrap or bangers in the 50s and 60s, but those that did survive are cherished, and no wonder why. What a piece of history. Incredible car. Good to see that this one's actually in use. Some lovely details. I love the Bentley fuel cap there. Of course, the Bentley logo. Lights are a bit small. Tonneau cover, well, you probably need one, but it's not going to rain. Spare wheels handy, right on the side. Well, there you go. From one end of the scale to the other with that Bentley. Wow, that sounds and looks amazing. What is it, a 512? Have I got completely wrong? Put it in the comments, probably have. So Porsche developed what was originally the 924 and 442 with a very different 968, and they did a club sport version of this, completely stripped out. I think aircon was an extra, radio was an extra, everything to get the weight down of these cars. Now these are probably the most sought after 968s of any of them actually, and they're worth incredible amounts of money, and still quite an attractive looking car today. So I think originally the Esprit was a Giugiaro design, but then Peter Stevens came along and gave it this facelift and rounded the car off. Does divide opinions sometimes on the facelift. Still got the pop-up lights, they were still legal to have them then. I'm not sure if this is the V8. I think Lotus did build a V8 engine in these for a while. I'm pretty sure it was their own power unit as well. No, this is not the V8, sorry to get your hopes up there folks, but it's still a lovely car, isn't it? Well, what better car to finish with than a Ferrari Dino, named after Ferrari's son. Never actually badged Ferrari, just as badged as Dino, sort of seen as an entry-level model in the range. This is on the lovely 14-inch, can you believe that, 14-inch alloy wheels, the Cromodora, is that correct? Worth enormous amounts of money these days. Driven by Tony Curtis in the Persuaders. Brett Sinclair drove the DBS Aston, and he drove this. Well, they're both hugely desirable cars and absolutely beautiful. I certainly, that is my lottery win treat to myself. I think one of those. Lovely, isn't it? So thanks once again for joining me on Lot 76 Cars at the Pistonheads Sunday Service from Brooklands. What a great day. Absolutely fantastic collection of cars. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. Lancia Delta Integrale. I've driven one of those. God, that's an absolute hoot they are.